So yesterday morning, Chris Philp spent the morning demanding a law get changed immediately, urgently, this week, because a rapist was about to walk free and a loophole keeping him in Britain is over 50 years old. What Philp didn't mention, not to Sky or the Times Radio, which is which party wrote that loophole, or which department he sat in for the better part of 5 years while it just, sat there. So here's what's actually happening. Shabir Ahmed, one of the ringleaders of the Rochdale grooming gang, convicted in 2012 for raping children as young as 12, is being released. Well, in fact, he's been released today, actually. And he's been inside for 14 years. His British citizenship's already gone. Pakistan won't take him back. And under the Immigration Act of 1971, because he arrived in Britain before 1973, he can't just be deported. So he's just staying, tagged, monitored, unlicensed, but still staying in the country. It's genuinely appalling. Nobody's arguing that. And Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, went on Sky News to say so. And then later in the same morning, he went to Times Radio to say it again.
Well, it's a shocking case. This man, Shabir Ahmed, a vile rapist who didn't only participate himself in raping young white girls as young as 12 years old, he was a ringleader. He organised it with other men of Pakistani origin. He was sentenced to prison in 2012. He's due to be released, I think, this week. And he should be, in my view, deported back to Pakistan because he is a danger, in my view, to women and girls in this country. And his victims may bump into him wandering around the town.
So listen to how similar these are.
This despicable man who raped young girls. I mean, the worst imaginable crimes. He should be kicked out of this country, sent back to Pakistan.
Different interviewer, different studio, same three beats, almost in the same order. So he's not describing his reaction to his news story, he's reciting a line that someone's handed to him before he's left the house. He does the same thing to the loophole itself.
Now, it turns out that under the 1971 Immigration Act, there's a loophole which says people arriving in the UK from a Commonwealth country, like Pakistan, or countries that were in the Commonwealth at the time, before 1973, can't be deported. Now, in my view, that loophole is completely wrong. Vile rapists like Ahmed should be deported. And so I'm going to be tabling an amendment to the government's immigration bill, which they introduced yesterday, to close the loophole, to make sure every foreign criminal can be deported. Already 2 Labour MPs have come out to support that, Paul Waugh and Jim McMahon. They're the Labour MPs for Rochdale and Oldham. And I'm calling on the Home Secretary now to come out today and say that she will support my amendment to make sure that all foreign criminals, including this vile rapist who preyed on young girls.
And it seems clear to me the law needs to be changed to get rid of this loophole that dates back over 50 years. This loophole needs to be removed. I urge the government to immediately change the law. As it happens, they presented a new asylum and immigration law to Parliament yesterday, and I will be tabling an amendment to that bill as it passes through Parliament in the coming months to change the law, to get rid of the loophole you've just referred to, so this despicable man can be kicked out of the country.
Both times the loophole just sort of exists. It arrived from nowhere, like, the weather or something. Nobody wrote it, nobody could have known. And, except, somebody did write it. The Immigration Act of 1971 was introduced by Edward Heath's Conservative government and given royal assent in October of that year. It isn't a mystery law that just kind of fell out the sky. It's a Conservative law, sitting on the statute book through every Conservative government since, and including the one that Chris Philp served in. Because here's the bit that Philp really doesn't want to dwell on. He was a Home Office minister from February of 2020 to September of 2021, and again from October of 2022 all the way to 2024 general election. As Minister of State for Crime, Policing and Fire, with Immigration Enforcement, running straight through that brief. 14 years of Conservative government, 2 separate stints for Philp, personally inside the department that owns this exact loophole.
Did this come up when you were in government? Did you know this loophole existed? Because the conviction was in 2012. I mean, that goes back to a long time ago. Did you know this existed?
So I never came across a case like this. Obviously, it goes. I think this applies to people who entered the country before 1973. Yeah. So it is quite a historic thing. I never came across a case like this that came to my attention, but it's very clear to me this loophole must be closed urgently, and this man needs to be kicked out. It's as simple as that.
Not that we should have fixed it, not a, oh yeah, it's on us, you know, we put it on the statute book, we should have removed that. It's just a shrug dressed up as ignorance. This, by the way, is the same Chris Philp who once stood on Question Time and asked the audience member whether Rwanda and Congo were different countries.
They're from Congo.
They're supposedly,
from Congo.
they're supposedly warring these people from Rwanda. Are they then going to be sent to Rwanda if they came here on a crossing?
From
Congo? Yeah.
Would people be sent from... Well, I mean, Rwanda is a different country of Congo, isn't it? It's a different country.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Definitely. He's saying if they come from the war...
There's a pattern here of a Home Office minister discovering basic facts about his own brief live on air, several years too late to do anything about them. And it's not just that nobody flagged it. Back in 2022, while Philp was sitting inside the Home Office, Andy Burnham, then just the Mayor of Manchester, publicly called the Conservative government to do everything in its power to deport grooming gang members. That's the same Andy Burnham who's about to become Prime Minister. And the call was made. The department just didn't move. And now the man who was in that department is on 2 different networks in one morning acting like he's just found out about it. None of this makes the loophole any less real or any less worth closing before Ahmad walked free. It should have been closed. But there's a difference between wanting a problem fixed and wanting to look like the guy fixing it. And Philp spent yesterday morning proving which one he's actually interested in. And to see Kemi Badenoch being the complete clueless about everything, you need to watch the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. And I'll see you next time.